Assalamu alaikum dear students. I welcome you to the lecture 15. We are going through the chapter number 4, Sensation, Attention and Perception, and today's topic is Factors Influencing Eye. We know that eye is a very important sense organ. Whenever the eye is damaged, eye is affected, the visual process is defective. And we can say that vision is at the top of all sensations. The factors that influence our vision can be the extra bright or dim light, the duration of light, and different visual disorders. So let's discuss these one by one in detail. Extra bright or dim light. We know that color vision or any sort of correct vision involves a proper quantity or amount of light. And the limit of adequate quantity is from 385 to 740 millimicron. Both these limits are called lower and upper limits of the light. Light is the stimulus for vision, and vision is only possible with the presence of light. If light is more or less than these limits, there will be no vision. Okay, so there is a proper limit of light so that the vision is produced. Otherwise, vision will not be produced. Extra bright or extra dim light do not produce vision. Another factor is the duration of light. Very bright, extensive, or we can say that the dazzling lights blur the vision. Besides this, a sudden change in the level of light also affects our vision. For example, if a person has to see in too bright or too dim light for a long time, his vision will be affected. So, duration of light is also very important in the visual process. If there is bright light for a long period of time, the eyes, or we can say that the muscle of the eyes get disturbed, get contracted, and there will be stress in the eye. Pressure will be built in the eye. Similar is the case with the dim light. We cannot see properly in bright light or in dim light, or if the duration of light is changing. If there is sudden or abrupt change in the duration of light, vision will not be produced, vision will not be smooth, eyes will not be working smoothly. The third factor is the visual disorders. Let's discuss different visual disorders in detail. Number one, color blindness. In color blindness, the individual cannot distinguish colors. There are two types of color blindness: total color blindness and partial color blindness. What is total color blindness? In this disorder, we know that retina contains cones which are specialized for color vision. This color blindness or this disorder arises when the retina contains no cones, or if it has cones, they do not function properly. Their deficiency, or we can say that any disorder or malfunctioning of the cones causes color blindness. In this case of total color blindness, a person cannot distinguish any color. Such a person can detect brightness or a difference of brightness, but he is unable to detect colors. A person who suffers from total color blindness finds everything in gray, brown, or black shades. Okay, it is total color blindness in which there are no cones, in which cones are damaged, in which cones are malfunctioning, or there is deficiency of cones. The other type of color blindness is the partial color blindness. When a person can distinguish only a few basic colors, he is said to be suffering from partial color blindness. According to Helmholtz, Red, green, and blue are the basic colors. Partial color blindness occurs when the receptors of these basic colors, red, blue, and green, malfunction. Okay, when the cones or the receptors of these three colors do not function properly, partial color blindness occurs. A partial colorblind may not be able to distinguish these colors, and a person who cannot detect a particular basic color and also cannot detect its secondary or complementary qualities. Okay. Another visual disorder is the night blindness. As it is clear from its name, the people suffering from this disorder are unable to see in low light, or we can say that in low illumination, or after the fall of evening. It is actually caused by the malfunction of rods on the retinal coat. We know that rods are the receptor cells on the retina, which are involved in vision during low light or darkness. As soon as the light dims, the cones cease to function. However, the rods continue working in dim light. If they develop some defect, if there is some defect or deficiency of rods, the individual cannot see under low light as well. This is night blindness. Another visual disorder is myopia. We are very well known. This is a very well known phenomenon. We know that the projection of image of a stimulus on the retina is very important for correct vision. If the eyeball develops some defect and the image of the stimulus falls in front of the retina, the individual cannot focus clearly on distant objects. Okay, since such people can see near objects rather clearly, its alternative term is also short-sightedness. Generally, this disease is manifested during the childhood. The school-going children who complain of inability to read the writing on the board suffer from myopia. They face no difficulty in reading a book but cannot see distant objects clearly. In this case, the eye specialist or ophthalmologist recommends such people to wear glasses with lens of minus power. Spectacles help the image to focus on the retina. Actually, this vision is about focusing image on the retina. The next visual disorder is hypermetropia. If the image of the stimulus begins to be focused behind the retina, such people are unable to see near objects clearly, but they can see distant objects more clearly. So, the disorder is also called long-sightedness. Okay? This defect of long-sightedness can be corrected by wearing glasses with a lens of positive power. Okay? Such people have to wear spectacles or lenses all the time. Another visual disorder is presbyopia. This disorder actually occurs in people of more than 40 years of the age. As a person gets older, he loses eye's capacity of accommodation. We know that. What is accommodation, as we have read in the previous lecture? It is the capacity of the pupil to adjust the eye by contracting or constricting it so that a proper amount of light enters the eye. In this disorder, a person loses the capacity of accommodation. Such people face no difficulty in detecting distant objects because they retain accommodation for distant objects. However, they lose ability to focus on close objects and cannot clearly see what is close to them. Hence, these people above 40 use spectacles for reading or for the closer examination of different things. Okay, this is presbyopia. Another visual disorder is astigmatism. Light waves enter the eye in a circle. We know that at an angle of 360 degree, and then get focused on a point on the retina. These light waves focus on a point on retina so that the vision is produced. Normally, their focal point is the same. If we divide light waves into horizontal and vertical waves for understanding purpose, then both horizontal and vertical waves should converge on the same point so that the correct vision is produced. And in case of defect, the light waves do not fall on the same focal point and the stimulus look a bit twisted. Okay, in astigmatism, this is actually a defect of cornea in which we say that light waves do not fall on the same focal point on the retina, and thus a proper vision is not produced. Proper image of the stimulus is not produced. This defect is corrected by a lens whose power is sort of adjustable at a specific angle. This power is adjusted at the required angle when spectacles are prepared, and thus the image of the affected wave begins to fall on the retina. In this case, we need that image falls on the retina. We need that the light waves focus or light waves fall on the same point on the retina so that image would not be twisted. Okay, another visual disorder is squint. Our eyes are focused on the same point when we look left, right, or at near or far off objects. The ability of the eye to meet at the same focus depends on the correct functioning of the optic nerves. Okay? When we focus eyes on a stimulus, some of the eye muscles are tensed and some are relaxed in proportion to the location of the object. Our eyes, our pupil begins to accommodate so that a proper amount of light enters. If the changes in the eye muscles take place in time and in accordance with the stimulus, our eyes remain straight. Okay? If this ability of the eye muscles is affected by some disease or any accident, one eye is focused on the stimulus while the other is turned in a different direction. That is to say, the second eye is directed to something else. The absence of the coordinated fixation of eye is called squint. Okay? In squint, there is no focus, no direct focus of both of the eyes. This is the absence of coordinated fixation of the eye. Both the eyes are unable to fixate at a point. Due to any disease, injury, or accident, one eye is focused on the stimulus and the other focuses on in another direction. And this situation actually arises when one eye is weaker in vision than the other. The stronger eye remains fixed on the stimulus, whereas the weaker eye begins to move around. In case of squint, keeping the situation in mind, what is the situation? This situation arises when one eye is weaker in vision. Keeping in view the nature of this disorder, either any surgery or operation is performed or specific spectacles are advised for correction. Okay, so this was squint. The next disorder of eye is cataract. As one gets older, the lens of the eye loses transparency and becomes milky white in color. The process of light waves passing through the lens slows down. Okay? Because of this milky white and the loss of transparency, the light waves which initially pass smoothly through the lens, now this process is slowed down. Actually, this cataract disease may be congenital, it may be present from birth. Its ratio is very low. Apart from this by birth factor, an injury to the eye may also cause this defect. Okay? Operation is performed to correct this defect, and the natural lens is replaced with an artificial lens. Okay? When the lens of the eye loses its transparency and becomes milky white, then operation is performed and the natural lens is replaced by an artificial lens so that proper amount of light pass through it and reach the retina and proper vision is produced. Okay, so another visual disorder is glaucoma. Normally the vitreous humor in the eyeball keeps flowing out of the eye and it is being replaced by fresh humor. Every time the vitreous humor which is present in the cavity, which is present in the eyeball, keeps flowing out of the eye and it is continuously being replaced by fresh humor. And this process of losing vitreous humor continues through small pores in the eye. There are small pores in the eye, and this process of replacement of the vitreous humor by the fresh humor is done by these small pores. If this process is disrupted for some reason, what would happen? Poisonous substances are produced because of vitreous humor being retained for too long. This would lead to increased intraocular pressure because there will be no flowing out of vitreous humor. Poisonous substances will be produced inside and there would be increased pressure in the eye. This increasing pressure of poisonous substances causes irreparable loss to the retina and the affected person loses vision forever. Okay, so this process of ejecting vitreous humor can be restored through an operation, but the lost vision cannot be recovered. Okay, so this glaucoma disorder is also called glaucoma because of the gravity of the disease. So these were the different factors which influence vision, which influence the human eye: extra bright light, the duration of light, and the visual disorders. Hope the topic is clear. We will be coming with the next lecture 16. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.